So at the end of last year, as one of the founders of Heidi Health, I took us overseas. I went to the US, to San Francisco to pitch a bunch of tier 1 venture investors and also make that network for Heidi as we grow over the next decade, hopefully. And then I also spent some time in Vegas going to Health, which is HLTH. It's the biggest healthcare conference in the world. And the reason for doing this is, as an Australian venture-backed company, there's always this big question about how you're going to translate what you're doing into an international value proposition, which I think we have with Heidi. And so this video is about me going to the Health conference, what I learned from that experience, seeing our competitors in the flesh, and what you can learn as a founder or a doctor or someone interested in this stuff from my experiences there. So join me for the ride in this video. So I'm at the Harrah. It's the cheapest hotel I could find that was near Vegas. So every startup, needs to be frugal, and that's how we do it, right? Like, expensive conference, cheapest flights, cheapest rooms, spend no money on food. That's the way to make it work. All right, nearly in my room, just getting my key. This is the view from my room. You can see the mountains in the background. Caesar's Palace just there. It's like watching The Hangover. Alright, cool. Got my pass. Alright, let's go to the conference now. Fit check. It's the outfit for the day. Got the Heidi jumper, backpack. It hasn't stopped being ironic to me that a health conference is in Vegas. Just walking to the exit now to go to the Venetian. That's where the conference is held. Come with me. Now, although it might seem a little bit lavish to go on all these trips as a founder, I actually think it's so important, and part of that first 2 years with some of my colleagues we've learned is that there's this sort of serendipity that you can't avoid by going in person to these events. So, we've been working with, I don't know, more than 10 to 15 different US companies and advisors and other people, and they were all coming to this event. So despite the limited funds, cash being that precious resource, we bit the bullet and went for it. And it was an amazing experience. And I think that it's just something I couldn't really have achieved by doing Zoom calls, being a hologram on a computer screen. So most people stayed at the Harrah's, which is behind me, or there's Treasure Island, which is there. They have this like pirate show every hour, I think after like 6 o'clock or something like that. Yeah, so the conference at the Venetian, it's a crazy big conference. There's 10,000 attendees. I think a third of them are CEOs or other C-suite people, and then another third are like investors or venture people. So the reason for us to come was to figure out, one, what our US strategy would be. Does it make sense to sell Heidi in the US? How differentiated is what we're building? How competitive is it? And the second thing is, would US investors be interested in an Australian story? That's my hotel. Not this fancy one. Cheap and close by. Alright. So, the entrance to the conference is through the Grand Canal shops, which should be cool to see. Maybe not the Sistine Chapel, but it's still pretty impressive. We're going to the Expo Center, which is this way. Welcome to Health. The production of this event was amazing, just beyond like this kind of galactic, spatial, super unicorn kind of vibe. Every major company that you could possibly imagine was all here at this one event, despite the kind of difficult economic backdrop and funding freeze for health startups. There was a kind of buzz and an energy around everyone being in one place at the one time, and yeah, I just loved the videos. This kind of like hyper crisp, commercially feeling. Everything was just amazing, as you can kind of see on the screen here, and walking into the conference, it was overwhelmingly large. The grandeur was beyond, you couldn't even see with the naked eye from one end to the other. I think there was more than 5,000 different booths. And for me, it was interesting seeing our competitors. So you can see here, Notable Health, Share Care, Taito Care. And these are companies that do just 1 or 2 features, really small things, but at a large scale across the US. And I think coming from another place, that's a really common trend in the US.
And the amount of investors and founders here was just crazy. Like, I took 20 different meetings and it was just, you know, a non-stop cycle of pitching.
If you're an Australian and you're wondering how many companies there are, this is just the companies that came as sponsors to this event. Check this out. And they have booths and products and teams and funding. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. The competition is definitely fierce. That's what I've learned while I was here, for sure.
And I think more than just the competition, there was sort of a level of fragmentation that I probably didn't anticipate, and probably something that you're not anticipating if you're outside of the US market. You know, most of these health systems, primary care, you pick your part of the industry, there's this kind of intercalated web of different products and services that are kind of shoddily stitched together to deliver the health results that you see on this kind of aggregated country-based scale. And so when you look into the US, you have to be careful to pick a niche and be very specific about your go-to-market. That's what I really learned from being there at the conference.
So this is the Australia booth. It's going off because we're feeding everyone wine. You can see Australia there. So it's time to say goodbye to Vegas. I have my answers from the conference and heading to SF for a couple of weeks. Yeah, so come with me.
So I arrived in SF confident that Heidi as a product is way superior to most of the health companies in the US. Each of them just focused on one feature and didn't do very much more. The hard thing was going to be, what's our niche, what's our go-to-market to figure it out over the next few years. And now in SF, time to pitch some investors for our Series A.
What's up? We're going to 8VC to pitch. Should be good. The Series A.